First of all, I just want to say thank you for the 1,000 subscribers. This is absolutely incredible. I feel like a broken record constantly thanking this community, but honestly, I'm probably just going to be forever grateful. So once again, thank you so much. And secondly, let's talk about this game. This is my first official Pokemon Auto Chess tournament game, and I say official very loosely because if you know what happened to this tournament, that ran into a bunch of glitches and kind of imploded, but that doesn't discredit any of the games that were actually played. So the Pokemon Auto Chess tournament format is that there's a seeded tournament bracket with multiple rounds. The top 4 players of each game advance until there are only 8 players left. In the final game of the tournament, the top placing player takes it all. So in this game with 7 players, the top 4 players will be moving on and the bottom 3 are eliminated. Generally, in these early rounds of the tournament, it's best to play a strong and consistent comp, something like grass or ground, dare I say ghost. Basically, no reason to play risky, since all you're trying to do is avoid being a bottom placing player. Personally, I'm very comfortable with water and dragon, and I'm even able to evolve myself a super early Wartortle before the first player round. As for my item components, I'm able to get some pretty nice items for a backline carry. And yeah, with that, let's definitely not do any risky openers like Baby or Open Fort. Everyone's bringing their A game to this tournament, trying to hit that top 4, so it really makes sense to avoid any lose streak strategies. Anyways, here's my Baby 3 opener. We're going to be immediately gambling away our life for some eggs. And just when you thought I couldn't get any greedier, I'm going to pick up a Nevermelt Ice and a Diglett in my Pokemon item draft. With that, I can make an Amulet coin and equip that onto my Wartortle. And what I try to do here is make a Water Stone so that I could also get Water 3 synergy alongside my Baby 3 synergy. But call it tournament nerves or something because I make a Mana Scarf instead. 100% not intended, but my idea was I'm going to try to get eggs with my Baby synergy, hopefully pick up a few kills with my Amulet coin before losing, and then get even more money through Water synergy fishing, but I've already messed one of those things up. And as we continue to lose early rounds, Wartortle doesn't pick up any gold. I am, however, able to pick up my first egg in Snivy. Snivy is great as a backline carry in field comps, but I'm not sure how comfortable I am in playing field in this meta, and especially in a tournament setting with eliminations, but it's definitely worth considering, especially when it's obtained this early. Anyways, we'll lose another round here. This time Wartortle is able to earn us 2 money, and this time I'm very lucky to pick up another egg immediately. This egg contains Gothita. I'm ready to stop using the Baby synergy, and I decide to switch over to a Water synergy, still unsure what angle to fully pursue, but I have a lot of options with my hatch Pokemon. I could do a field angle with that Snivy, or I could try for a Psychic team with Gothita. I do have a Fossil Stone, so that allows for even more versatility, but overall I won't know for sure until I reach that round 10 unique portal. For now, I'll be losing another round. That's fine, I've got Lost Streak money and Amulet coin money. We're already at 50 gold by round 8, and we're also able to pick up a Seadra. I really want a Mystic Water so that I can make a Water Stone. I also sell off the Wartortle as its items are even stronger on Seadra, and I can throw the Water Stone on Snivy to force it to work with my Water team. Here we're facing off against a Human, Fire, Psychic team. Once again, our team loses, but that continues the loss streak. As we approach our Gyarados round, I'm able to evolve myself a Marshtomp, and I have the Pokemon I need to run a Dragon 3 synergy. Very comfortable playing with dragons, so we'll do just that. As we enter the unique portal carousel, there is only one dragon portal, and it's the opposite side of my character. Thankfully, it seems like everyone has a different plan in mind, and I'm able to pick up that dragon portal. My unique selection gives me some pretty cool choices. Obviously, there's Druddigon, where I could continue along with my plan for dragons. There's Spiritomb, who has Ghost and Amorphous synergy, just 2 very strong and consistent synergies. And there's also Luvdisc, who I think is very underappreciated and very strong, though it is tricky to use and I don't have the best setup for it right now. With the Lost Streak opener that I had, I decided to play it safe and go with Druddigon. Druddigon is very strong, especially with the right items. It does a ton of damage and it's quite bulky, and it can really dominate the mid-game with Monster Synergy active. Because of all the gold that I earned from my Lost Streak opener, I'm able to reach level 6 right now, and alongside Dragon 3 synergy, I'm able to hit Monster 4 synergy, especially thanks to that Bagon whose Monster Synergy is being double counted. And with Monster Synergy active, our Monster Pokemon will be able to heal and gain power upon picking up kills. So let's see this team in action. It's definitely not a weak team, but we're against the player in first place, They've got a lot of shielding activated from their normal synergy, as well as a Chatot with a Pokénomicon. It's able to do so much damage with its ability and spreading burns across all of our team, and that bird with a dictionary makes quick work of our team. For the next Pokemon item draft, I pick up a Black Glasses alongside Pumpkaboo, but I picked it up mainly for the glasses because I can make a Fluffy Tail. I can equip Fluffy Tail onto my Dredagon, and that's pretty much perfect for Dredagon because Dredagon's ability is very strong but confuses itself. With the Fluffy Tail, it's no longer going to confuse itself. This round, I also decide to swap out the Snivy or Snivy, I forget what I call it, and I'm also too lazy to look up how it's actually pronounced. I decide to use Gothita instead, because I feel like Gothita has a lot more overlap with not only the team that I'm running, but also a lot of late game Pokemon that I could use if I decide to pivot my team. I really do like the design of Snivy as a Pokemon, but in terms of overlap with late game units, I just don't think it has as much to offer as Gothita does. Anyways, this round goes quite poorly. We really need to stop losing. I decide to lock a Dano in the shop as I can get to Dragon 5 synergy with it. But first things first, we have an item carousel and I grab myself a Miracle Seed. My goal is to make a Pokénomicon for that Gothita, and right now I also roll the shop and I'm able to evolve my Dano immediately into the two-headed Dano. I really can't remember that Pokemon's name. Apparently it's Zweilous. I can't recall ever saying that before. But anyways, here I restructure my team to support Dragon 5 synergy. Now my dragons will be granting each other some shields, and overall just making my front line much stronger. We'll see if we're able to win the upcoming round against a bug player. Our Dredagon gets taken down super quickly as it's going against 2 Scythers, and then it doesn't take long for the rest of our team to get taken down, and at this moment I'm thinking to myself, wow, I'm gonna get eliminated in my very first tournament game. However, in this round I'm able to evolve a Croconaw and pick up a Solosis, a very strong late game psychic Pokemon. Its ability can do tons of damage to a concentrated area of Pokemon, and paired with the Gothita, it's able to get Psychic 2 synergy. However, being level 7, I don't have the space to run everything that I want to run, so I'm trying my best to figure out how I can restructure my team. I'm desperate to start winning rounds as I'm really low on health, and as I roll away my money, I do find a second Seadra, and this round my team finally catches a break as we face off against 7 babies. However, that is very scary to see when a player that's way ahead of you is running 7 babies, because that means, unless they're super unlucky, I'll have to overcome a team that has not only been performing better than mine, but will also have a shiny item in the future. Ultimately, this round I abandoned the monster synergy in Croconaw. It hasn't really been working out for me, but I do evolve my Bagon into Shelgon, and my Gothita, being a hatch Pokemon, evolves into Gothorita. I have another break this round as I'll be facing off against Mewtwo, a non-player round, and my reward for taking down Mewtwo is the exact item component I need, because with a Twisted Spoon, I can make a Pokénomicon. I also pick up a Charcoal. I think I was dialed in on making a Flame Orb for my Dredagon, but looking back, that Magnet would have been a great choice as I could have made a Blue Orb to pair alongside that Pokénomicon. This round, I also pick up a Gibble, and with Gibble, I can actually reacquire that Monster Force energy that I decided to give up on. And ultimately, this lets me run everything that I had been trying to: Dragon 5, Monster 4, Water 3, and Psychic 2. The other synergies I have active are not very significant. It's Wild 2 from the Dredagon, which is a nice attack damage boost but not too significant, and Ground 2 synergy on the Gibble. Anyways, here is our next round. We're against a water team. This battle, our Solosis and Gothorita work together perfectly. Our Gothorita is able to damage everything, inflicting burns and lowering everything's defenses, and Solosis is able to just throw a huge burst in damage, and whatever they weren't able to collectively kill, our Seadra and Monster Frontline clean up. Normally I would be trying to reach level 8, but with the amount of health that I have, I'm also looking for evolutions and stronger Pokemon. When I roll the shop, I find a Goomy, which is a dragon with an Amorphous symbol. Solosis also has Amorphous, so I'm one Pokemon away from hitting Amorphous 3 synergy. Since I am in survival mode and I just need to hit top 4 to move to the next round of the tournament, I decide to dip below 50 money to get that Amorphous synergy active, and I'm able to do so with a Sandygast. Not an amazing Pokemon, but hitting that Amorphous synergy is a huge deal for my team, as this grants my entire team with a huge attack speed and health bonus. Currently, I have 8 active synergies, so that means 8% extra attack speed on all my Pokemon, as well as 32 health on each Pokemon. And in this battle, my team does do very well. but they're struggling to kill that Hawlucha who has fighting synergy activated, human synergy, as well as fire synergy, and overall very strong scaling items. It's able to just barely finish off the rest of my team. But the silver lining of being at the bottom of a game is getting to go first in carousels. I'm very happy to pick up a heart scale, which lets me build a flame orb. I also decided to pick up a Jangmo-O, as it can activate another bump in our Amorphous synergy if I replace the Shelgon with it. Our monster synergy does drop down one level, but the later the game goes on, the less strong monster synergy becomes. I also do a few desperate shop rolls, which gets me Dragonair. That'll provide even more than Jangmo-O will, so it'll take its place. And I'm also able to grab myself a Palossand. And as I continue to roll down my money, look at this. I can evolve my Jangmo-O into Hakamo-O. Without much time left, I throw in Jangmo-O instead of Gible. That ultimately is a net 1 loss in synergies, but overall, our frontline has much better stats, and that will hopefully allow our Gothorita and Solosis to do their thing. Overall, the battle goes really well. Our Solosis does tons of burst damage, our Gothorita spreads burns on the entire enemy team, and our Druddigon, empowered by a Flame Orb, is able to do so much damage with both its attacks and its ability, and it's immune to all burns thanks to that Fluffy Tail. Alright, in the next round, I decide to swap that Gible with the Dragonair. It doesn't have as good stats as that Dragonair, but I am able to get one more Amorphous bump, as well as that monster synergy active. I think a little bit of monster synergy is significant, as Druddigon is one of our strongest Pokemon right now. Since it does so much damage, it's very likely to pick up lots of healing through that monster synergy, and the flinching is also useful against the player with a bunch of normal Pokemon. This round, however, we're facing off against a Psychic team. This Psychic player has been utilizing Unknowns very well as a very annoying Mesprit, who is able to charm and render our Pokemon useless for a very long duration. However, despite all of this, our team has enough power to dismantle our opponent's front line, and ultimately, with their team lacking damage, we were able to win quite comfortably. And finally, this round is very significant as our Gothorita evolves into Gothitelle. This is also our legendary round, and looking at my team as it stands, I don't really know what I want. Obviously, a good frontline dragon could replace my Gible, but I could also potentially drop Dragon synergy and pursue Psychic or Amorphous synergy as my main synergy. For now, we'll take down Lugia and Ho-Oh, giving us a Never Melt Ice. That means the last item I'll be making has to be a Green Orb, as our Gothitelle is holding a Mystic Water. It's not an ideal item for a backline, but it's not useless. It's definitely more oriented for the frontline, but at least Gothitelle can make use of the stats that it provides. Also, without seeing any Amorphous symbols, I decide to go in this Dragon Portal. For my legendary choices, the Dragon choice I'm offered is Zekrom, who is a good backline Pokemon, but I'm pretty happy with my current backline, so I instead decide to pick up Deoxys. Not only does Deoxys have Psychic and Amorphous synergy, it also has Human synergy, which is significant and gives us another bump for our Amorphous synergy. With Human synergy active, our whole team now has a bit of lifesteal healing, and Deoxys is also able to change its form. So I change mine into Deoxys Defense form, which is an extremely tanky frontline Pokemon. Its ability is able to make itself invincible for a significant amount of time, which is very useful. And now that we're no longer in last place and actually winning a few rounds, I'm comfortable going up to level 9, at least working towards it. We are back at 50 money, which is very nice. If we lose another round, we'll spend it down, but for now, let's see how we fare against this bug team. They have so many cloned bugs on the board, but that's where our Gothitelle shines. Since Gothitelle's ability hits everything and it can burn everything, after one cast it's able to weaken the entire enemy team, and then a second cast almost takes everything out, and in the end, a commanding victory led by that Gothitelle. This round, I see that I'm getting very close to Gyarados. It doesn't exactly fit our team, but it is a very strong frontline Pokemon. It would definitely be an upgrade to either Seadra or Gible, but you do need to get 8 Magikarps in order to evolve it. So needing the bench space, I sell my Seadra, replace it with the benched one, and repurpose the Seadra's items to Solosis. With those changes, let's see how we fare against this Poison team with a shiny item in Absorb Bulb. This is also not very good positioning for this fight. Our opponent's Absorb Bulb decimates my front line. Our Gothitelle is able to put on tons of damage, but without any other Pokemon surviving long enough to support it, it goes down as well. Alright, at this point, I can survive maybe one more round, but it's looking very dicey. For our item carousel, I wouldn't mind making my frontline even sturdier, but the only tanky item in Pokédoll gets taken. So the next best item, you could make a case for the Waterstone, but I decide to pick up the choice specs for my Solosis. This round, I also pick up a Shellos from the shop, which doesn't do a lot for my team at the moment, but it does give me something to think about. I could potentially switch off of Dragon 5 and instead go for Amorphous 5. I will need to find a 5th Amorphous Pokemon, so for now we'll just keep rolling with our current team, and we'll give that Solosis the choice specs as we take on that human psychic fire fighting team. That's a word salad of a team right there. But yeah, even unevolved, our Solosis is doing so much damage. We were also able to take down the Hawlucha this round before it was able to scale up. The Regigigas did provide a bit of trouble, but in the end, our Solosis just does too much burst damage. We'll continue onwards. This round I decide to go all the way to level 9. I throw in the Shellos, and I decide to look for a 5th Amorphous Pokemon. I can do it with this Vanillite, losing Dragon 5 in the process. That does mean my dragons will lose a lot of shields, but Amorphous 5 synergy will make up for it with all the extra health they'll be gaining, as well as way more attack speed. My team as it stands has 9 active synergies, which means I get a team-wide 27% attack speed buff, as well as 72 more HP per Pokemon. Just before the round starts though, I swap into Sobble because I really want that water synergy active. That does mean one less Amorphous bump, but by no means is Sobble a weak Pokemon, even when misplaced in the front line. But ultimately that water synergy empowers our Gothitelle, allowing it to cast its ability a little sooner and a little more often, and the armor reduction it applies helps out the rest of our team, especially the Solosis. And it's really nice to see that we're doing well against the player in first place. Alright, this round we fish up our 7th Magikarp. I don't know if Gyarados is worth using at this point, but it's probably better than Sobble. The main issue with the Magikarps for me is that it's taking up too much bench space. I'd love to pursue some evolutions, but I don't really have the space to do that, so for now I'll just have to lock this Goomy in the shop. This is a non-player round, and we don't fish during non-player rounds, so I don't have to worry about clearing up a space for that 8th Magikarp just yet. For now, we'll take down the birds, and we don't get amazing items, but I'm not unhappy to see a green orb that can go on our Deoxys defense. And now, I really have to decide what I want to do with my bench. Ultimately, I decide to roll down my money and look to evolve that Shellos, which after a few shop rolls, I am thankfully able to do. Hello, Gastrodon. And now that I have bench space, we'll take on this Psychic team. This time they've got a Deoxys Speed, which is able to do tons of damage to my team. There's also unknowns popping off left and right. It's impossible to tell what exactly is going on, but our backline gets wiped out pretty quickly. However, we still have 3 healthy frontline Pokemon. Druddigon is our main source of damage here, but ultimately it gets taken down. And as we have a duel between our 2 Deoxyses, or Deoxys? What about Deoxyn? Let's go with Deoxyn, that sounds fun. Our Deoxys ultimately gets taken down as it doesn't do enough damage. Neither does our Hakamo'o. It was a close fight, but we are now at 6 health. And the player with 1 HP below us has a very strong team with a shiny item, so this could very well be our last round in the tournament. Fortunately, we do get a Gyarados this round, and with it in play, we're sitting at a very awkward Dragon 4, Water 4, Psychic 3 synergy. For now, we'll just roll with what we have, and since we're only 1 loss away from losing, let's spend down our money to try to evolve what we can. Thankfully, just before the round starts, we're able to grab ourselves a Duosion. And here we go, it's the shiny item Poison team. This time, however, our Gothitelle and Duosion drop a perfectly timed Wombo combo. Let's see an instant replay on those ability casts. Yeah, they're working amazingly together. We barely needed our front line that round, and I would have loved to have eliminated that player, but I faced against a ghost. Regardless, we survive another round, and we actually make it to top 4, as unfortunately, that Greninja player was knocked out of the game. Anyways, during this item carousel, I would love to pick up that Wonder Box, but it gets claimed. But I'm okay with picking up a Fluffy Tail, if anything just to deny other players from picking it up. During that item carousel, I was also able to evolve my Goomy into a Sliggoo, and I also pick up a bunch of Ghastlys and Dittos, which is exactly what I want to see. Ghastly is an Amorphous Pokemon that is also able to apply a silence on the entire enemy team, and that's going to be super useful against a Sound player and a Psychic player. I immediately evolve it into Haunter, and it's going to take the place of our little ice cream cone, and as we roll away all of our money, we'll throw the Fluffy Tail on our Deoxys. We'll take on the scary Poison team yet again after repositioning our team, and once again we get the Duosion Gothitelle Wombo combo. The timing of their abilities is consistently perfect, and this win is going to move us into the top 3. And as we speed through this non-player round, we'll be able to pick up a Wonder Box as a reward. We're never disappointed to see that item. We'll throw it on the Gyarados, although I probably should have put it on the Haunter, but it doesn't really matter, they're both good choices. And right now, I'm playing around the idea with going for a Psychic Force energy, since I could replace one of my dragons. But ultimately, I actually do think my team does enough damage. I don't need that Psychic Force energy boost, and I actually would rather have that extra Amorphous bump. And yeah, with a super beefy front line and a high damaging back line, not only is the front line able to survive the Sound Team's onslaught, but the Gothitelle and Duosion continue to be a menace. You know, in Pokemon Black and White, Gothita and Solosis are respective version exclusives, so it's pretty cool to see them work together super effectively in this Pokemon Auto Chess game. And as we are now in the top 2, I don't really find anything in the shop with the little money that I have. So let's see how we fare in the final battle of this game, right before our Gothitelle is able to use its ability. Mesprit charms it, our Duosion gets taken down by their Duosion, and their Deoxys is being an absolute menace, but our Haunter is finally able to do a team-wide silence, allowing the Gyarados to take it down, while the rest of our team close in on the back line. With our opponent's primary damage dealer taken down, we'll take a very shaky first place in our very first tournament game. And that's that. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.